Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rakoya and this is Bodied by Ri. So as you see by the title, today I'm going to be talking about my experience with COVID. So yes, I have a lot of things to say about a lot of fears, about my experience, and I'm just going to get into it. So I had COVID about a month ago. So I had... It was a Friday night and I had a really bad headache. So usually I have migraines. I'm usually looking at a computer screen most of the day, working also on my phone. So I already deal with migraines. So me on this Friday night, like getting off work, I'm thinking, I have a migraine. I've been looking at the screen all day. So I go to bed that night and I wake up the next morning and it's like, it's the worst migraine I've ever had. Like literally, I was crying because like my head was hurting so bad and my body had felt like I got beat up. Like I felt like I had worked out or something. So I get Phoenix's little baby thermometer, because I don't have a thermometer for myself, but I get the thermometer, I take my temperature and it's like 100.4. So like I'm freaking out. Mind you, this is the weekend before my birthday. My birthday was on a Monday and I was supposed to have like a little surprise sleepover, but I had already known about it. But I was supposed to just have like a couple of friends, my cousins, come over and have a sleepover. So I'm like, let me go get tested, make sure I'm okay, not only for myself and my son, but also I'm about to have these people come over my house. Like, I don't want to expose them. But it's super weird because I don't leave the house. Like, I'm super scared. I don't leave the house. Like, it's so scary with COVID. Like, I had a baby during the pandemic. Like, it's so scary. We don't really know a lot about COVID at all. And the fact that, like, it's just up in the air, it's just scary. So I go over to the MedExpress urgent care and you have to call in. They lock the doors just to prevent the exposure in the inside. So I call in and she's like, it's gonna take 3 hours. Like we have a long line. We have over 100 patients inside and waiting outside. So I'm like, oh my goodness. At this time, it's like 10 o'clock. So everyone's supposed to come. Like I know my friends wanna like cook and decorate and everything. So I'm like, they're coming from a distance, so I need to hurry up and get this done. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call you back. So I drive around to all the different urgent cares, but at MedExpress, this is the only place that does the rapid testing. So that way I would know 30 minutes if I have it or if I don't have it. So I called back to MedExpress. Mind you, I called like 20 times because I kept calling and they're like, sorry, we can't answer your phone right now, like call back or whatever. So I'm just calling, like I hear that message, so I'm like, click, call back, click. Just keep doing that over and over until I get someone on the phone. So I finally get on the waiting list. So I'm sitting in my car, I FaceTime a couple people, call a couple people. I think I started watching a show on Netflix because I'm like, what can make the time go by fast? So I go inside. So I kind of like hyped up my symptoms before I went in because I wanted to get the rapid test. I didn't want them to send the test off because I wanted to know then and there, like I have a baby at home. I breastfeed, like I want his health not to be jeopardized as well. I'm having these people come over, so I needed to know that day. So I go inside, they do the COVID test, they stick it up both sides of my nose. So I'm sitting in the room and I'm just waiting. And then the doctor comes in and he has like the coverings on, he has his mask on, and he just nonchalantly, he just sits down. And so he was like, he tested positive. And I'm like, me? And he was like, if you didn't think you had COVID, why'd you come? And I'm like, I just was being safe. Like, but it literally, like, I cried. Like, I sat right there and I cried because it's terrifying. Like, so I'm asking him, is there any type of medications I can take? Is there anything that I should do? What about my baby? Like at this time, he was 4 months old. Yeah, so I'm just like, what do I do? And he's like, well, your baby probably has it too since like you're around him, he's exposed to you. So I'm like, I cry again. Like I'm upset. Like my son has been jeopardized as well. Like we're sick now. So there's no medication I can take. He says, whatever makes you comfortable. So take something for your headache. Like you have this excruciating pain, just take some medication for that. So I call my boyfriend, I call Jordan, and I'm like, I just tested positive for COVID. And he's like, you're lying. And I'm like, no, I literally just tested positive for COVID. And so he was like, no way. So he has to call his job and let them know like, hey, I just been exposed. So I come home, I have my mask on still, and it's just like, it's just scary. Like my baby's looking at me like, Mom, what are you doing? Why do you have a mask on? Like, what is wrong with you? So it's just like, it's so weird. Like I didn't know like if I should be around him. Like I breastfeed, like should I just exclusively pump, give him bottles? Like it's super hard. Like yes, Jordan is here to help me, but I'm the primary caregiver. Like I'm the one that's with him all the time when Jordan's at work. I breastfeed him, so we spend a lot of time together. So it was really, really scary. I really didn't know what approach to take. So this is a Saturday when we find this out. So I'm just watching Phoenix, making sure he's okay. Because really the only symptom I had was a headache, and I had a slight fever. But once I started taking like ibuprofen and Tylenol for my headache, it went away. So I'm walking around my house, wear a mask. I literally am like bleaching and Lysoling and sanitizing everything, because I'm like, where did I get it from? I don't leave my house. I usually do like pickups for groceries or the drive up where they put it in your car. So I don't know. And Jordan, he didn't have any symptoms, so it was just super weird. Phoenix, he did get like a little cough, and he was a little congested. So I called his doctor on Monday. I let them know like, hey, I just tested positive for COVID. He's been exposed, of course. So we scheduled an appointment. They wanted to wait like 5 days since the positive test, but that would have been Christmas. So we ended up doing it on, I think that Wednesday he went in for his COVID test. So like Christmas Eve to get it done. So I just felt so bad for him. They stuck the little thing up both sides of his nose as well. He cried, but he took it like a champ, and like he cried for a second, and then like right after he was like looking around like, what's going on? So so he did really good, surprisingly. But Phoenix is strong, and he's a little soldier, so I knew he would do well. But I have like a little, I was on FaceTime, and Jordan took him because I didn't want to go and expose the doctors. So he was on FaceTime with me, and I like screen recorded, and so like you see me in the top of my picture, me crying because Phoenix is crying. Like the whole COVID experience, like COVID makes you cry. I cried a lot. But to back up, so like I mentioned, my birthday. So my birthday was that Monday, the 21st. 23, COVID in 23, okay? That was my birthday gift. So I couldn't go anywhere. Like for my birthday, I wanted it to be super chill anyway. Like that's why I was just gonna have a couple of people over. And then that Monday, I was like, all I wanna do is get a massage. Like mom life is so difficult a lot. Like I just wanted to relax, be calm, zen, all that. But my girl COVID, she shut it down quick, okay? But so that Monday is my birthday, so I'm so thankful for my mom and my sister. They drove to my house, and I put the window up in my living room because it is kind of like floor level, and they stood on our porch, and they brought me like gloves and hand sanitizer and like little sanitizing wipes for Phoenix, and Lysol wipes and disinfectant disinfectant wipes, and the Lysol disinfectant stuff for your laundry, because I do recommend with COVID like washing your sheets and pillowcases and stuff daily. And so I just made sure I used that and disinfected everything. And I also asked for toothbrushes, so every day when I brush my teeth, I just used like a cheap little dollar store toothbrush and then threw it away and got a new one, because I feel like germs just live and grow on your toothbrush and super gross, and I just wanted to do that. So yeah, and I was just super thankful. Like they brought me some happy birthday balloons, like even though it was my birthday and I was down and I was upset, like I cried all day long, it was still nice, and it was just the initiative, and I'm just so thankful for my family. Like on Christmas we were in the house, we couldn't go anywhere. Like it was Phoenix's first Christmas, and it was just super sad. Like we were at home, but my mom and my sister, they came through with gifts and dropped them off on the porch. And Jordan's family, they came by, they brought me some oranges so I could get some vitamin C, and they also brought over like his family is Puerto Rican, so the coquito, and they also brought over like a bunch of rice and stuff like that. So it was really nice. Like we have food from everywhere, and my cousin drove up. My aunt, she cooked on Christmas Eve for us, and she made sure that they came up early and they dropped off the gifts and the food. So we have food, but the one thing that it sucks, and it's still sucking for me for COVID. I lost my taste and smell, I think, on day 3. Yeah, because my birthday, so Saturday would have been day 1, Sunday was day 2, and day 3 was my birthday. I can still taste my birthday. So I lost my taste and smell on day 4, because on day 3 of my birthday I had Thai food and I could taste it. But day 4 I lost my taste and smell, and it is, what's today's date? I tested positive. It's a month later, and I can still, well, I still cannot taste or smell anything. Like, it's super weird. It's so crazy. Like, when you're eating food, I am just chewing. There's nothing. Like, you guys saw in the previous video. If you did not watch the previous video, please go check it out. In the previous video, I was taking shots of cheap, nasty liquor, and I couldn't taste anything. Like, it's so crazy. Like, it's like when I eat spicy foods, I get, like, my mouth is on fire, like my lips are burning. So I've been eating nothing but spicy foods to just get some type of sensation and flavor. Is miserable, and I cannot wait. I tried the little TikTok hack with the Jamaican remedy of charring the orange and then mixing it with brown sugar, and that's supposed to bring it back. It didn't for me. I've been drinking ginger tea. I got some fresh ginger, turmeric, apple cider vinegar. I've been literally trying everything. I also, two things that I did with my COVID, I feel like they kind of sped up my recovery, was I was doing the elderberry syrup. Highly recommend. It boosts your immune system. Since there is no medication for COVID, it just helps out your immune system. I also did the vitamin C packets, so I would mix these two together and put them in a water bottle and just like chug the water bottle, and I would do that twice a day. So I feel like that helped out my recovery. Also, breastfeeding with COVID. COVID cannot be spread or transmitted through the breast milk, so it was still safe for me to breastfeed Phoenix, since he was already exposed with being around me prior to us testing positive, so it didn't really hurt or harm him. But he did test positive for COVID, and like I mentioned, the only symptoms that he had was he had a slight little cough and he was congested. So at night I literally did not sleep, and neither did Jordan, because we would literally like stay up all night watching him sleep. Like, already a baby sleeping is so terrifying. Like, thinking about SIDS, and Phoenix is rolling over now, so he's sleeping on his belly. Like, that's already terrifying enough. Like, and then for him to like have a little issue with breathing, like, it's just scary. It's very scary, and especially with an upper respiratory infection like COVID that we don't know anything about. So we survived COVID. Like I mentioned, Phoenix and I were the only ones that tested positive in our household. We don't leave the house, so it's super weird. But it's so crazy, because I feel like when COVID first came about, like, we joked about it and we said things about it. And then also it was like, you never really knew anybody that had COVID. And it's like, we kind of took it as a joke a little bit sometimes, because we don't really, I don't know, it's kind of like a hoax. Like, you thought it was a hoax because you didn't know anybody that had it. There's no cure for it. There's no treatment for it. But there's vaccine for it. We're just going to leave my thoughts on that in another video. But that is my story time of the time that I had COVID. I really appreciate everyone's support. Appreciate all the well wishes, everyone checking on us. It is very scary, especially you just don't know what to do being a first-time mom. I feel like my instinct for everything is to take him to the doctor. Like, I know his doctor is tired of us because we're on first name basis. He remembers the last appointment. He remembers, he's like, oh, Phoenix, I had took him recently for teething, and he was like, oh, Phoenix, he did so well with his COVID test. Like, he cried for a second and then he was great. And I'm like, it's just so funny, because like, he knows us because we go so often. But I mean, I'd rather be safe than sorry, and especially with something as scary as COVID. But like I said, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.